History is full of rich connections to God and the great outdoors He created for us. I'm on a mission to share these experiences with my children, alongside other fathers who want to introduce their sons and daughters to the beauty and bounty of the world where we are blessed to walk with our Heavenly Father in His garden. My name is Jacob Whitley. This is Fathers and the Great Outdoors.
Can you get steady?
He just needs to stop.
Okay, I'll stop him. You steady?
Yep.
There you go. There you go, baby. What are you thinking?
Surprised. I'm still in shock.
That's a good deer.
Welcome to Fathers in the Great Outdoors. If you want to support this content, you can check out some of our merch and even some outdoor supplies at greatoutdoorspodcast.com. Today we have Zane Seelye with us. How you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you doing?
Good. So I usually just kind of start out by asking kind of about your background, what kind of got you in the outdoors, hunting and fishing.
Sure, absolutely. I was raised around it my whole life. I think I was fishing. My parents told me I was fishing when I was still in diapers yet. So fishing has always been my number one. And then of course I always hunted and whatever else. But here, the last 10 years, I really got back into hunting. More bow hunting than anything, but I got back into it. My whole family, I mean, they live and die to hunt, so I didn't have a choice. I was going to be an outdoorsman whether I liked it or not. So I've been 45 years old now, and I think I've been hunting and fishing for probably 44 of them, I would imagine. So,
okay. What specifically got you back into it?
I think it was. I got married. The time I met my wife, I was in my middle 20s, and we lived in the part of the state where we really didn't have any good hunting. And I don't want to say forgot about it, but I got more tied up in getting married and starting a career. And then I just said, hey, I'm not getting any younger. I got to get back in a tree stand and I got to get back at it again. And then I found out how much I missed it and loved it. So been going hard ever since.
Yeah.
So I probably took, I think probably 4 or 5, 6 years that I didn't hunt at all. And I just more or less fished. But yeah, then I got back into it and now it's full steam ahead.
Very cool. Have you always been kind of in the same area?
Yeah, I've always been in North Dakota. Yep. I've lived my whole life mainly around the Bismarck area. And then when I met my wife, we moved out to the eastern part for, I think, 12 years. And then we came back to Bismarck here again in 2014. So, yep, I've been in North Dakota my whole life.
Very cool.
We went elk hunting last year, and I tell you, it was very hard not to go, yeah, we got to buy a house in Montana and move out there and elk hunt, but that's too expensive. So, excuse me.
Yeah. I'm originally from California, moved over to North Carolina, and I said, if we ever move again, it's going to be Montana.
Yeah. I got an uncle out there, and we absolutely love it out there. Matter of fact, end of September, we got back from bow hunting elk out there. So we spent, I think, 10 days out there doing that. Wasn't successful, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Definitely do it again.
Yeah. Did anybody see anything at least?
We saw, I suppose, 3,000 to 4,000 elk, but they were all down on the flat ground on private. And of course, all the outfitters had it all eaten up. So there was nothing up in the mountains. I mean, it was dead. They were all down in the flats and the valleys. And of course, the outfitters had them all ate up. So we did what we could. I mean, we put, oh God, I think 300 to 400 miles in the pickups, and I know 100 miles a piece in the four-wheelers, and I don't know how many miles on feet. And we had to get to the point where we said we're kind of SOL here. We just cut our losses and let's go home. So that's what we did. And plus, it didn't help. It was 90 degrees out too during the days, so that never helps.
Yeah. Was your daughter with you on that trip?
Yes. Yep. Yep. She's more or less stayed in the cabin, but she got out a couple times to see what it was like. She came with last year. Last year I went out there rifle hunting, and she came with quite a bit doing that. So she really enjoyed that. She enjoyed the scenery and they got all those little trails and stuff through the mountains we take the four-wheelers on, and she enjoyed the hell out of that too. So that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I think I enjoyed that almost just as much as the hunting part of it. But
Yeah, I imagine just getting out there.
yeah, well, a completely different scenery than what I'm used to here in the Dakotas, where it's it's flat as flat can be. So
Yeah.
pretty neat. Pretty neat.
Uh, so when you were kind of looking at having a family, was it ever a thought that you would be taking your any of your future kids hunting or fishing?
Absolutely, absolutely. There wasn't a doubt in my mind. My son, he was just like I was with my dad. As soon as he was old enough to walk, he was attached at my hip, and I mean, I took him everywhere. I mean, he was sitting in the tree stand with me. Well, I remember I had to hold it the first time he ever went. I had to actually hold him because he wasn't able to keep himself upright the whole time. So then I got him shooting around age 4 or 5. I started getting him into shooting, and he's just like the rest of us. He's chomping at the bit to get out and hunt nonstop, and of course he loves to fish too. But yeah, then my daughter just got into it. I think this is her third season of hunting herself, or being able to hunt. So she's not much of a fisherman. She just likes to hunt. So this is she got this buck on Sunday, and then this would be her second deer that she's gotten. So it's been very cool.
Very cool. Well,
I can remember, when you're hunting, you always want to be successful and fill your tag. But when I had kids and my wife, it didn't matter if I got anything or not. I got more enjoyment out of watching them get theirs than I did mine. So my season's already a success. My son got his buck and my daughter got her buck. So my season is a success. So I don't even have to pull a trigger this year.
yeah. Are they both at home still? Or I assume your
My
daughters.
my son. No, my son he's been gone a year or two now, but yeah, just my daughter's at home now.
Okay.
So, matter of fact, my son came home. I was at work today, and I had to get a couple rifles shot, and he came home and went out, took him to the range for me quick. And when I got home from work, he brought him back and said he's got him dialed in. So we'll see.
Where is he now?
He lives in Bismarck here too.
Okay.
So yeah, he lives in Bismarck also. Yeah.
So you said your daughter didn't get into fishing. Is there a particular reason?
Well, it's not fast enough pace for her. We took her out in the boat. Well, I can remember, if you take a kid out in a boat too long all day where they're bored and they're not interested, I mean, you're going to burn them out. So when we first took her out, we'd take her out for a couple hours at a time, and it didn't seem to matter. She just, she'd sit in the boat and play all day, but she didn't care less if she reeled a fish in, and she'll still go in the boat, but she doesn't care if she fishes or not. So she'll ice fish. She likes ice fishing, but she doesn't like being in the boat.
So is it about the boat specifically?
No, I just don't think she has any interest in it.
Okay.
Yeah, for some reason she took on to ice fishing, but not. She'll sit in the boat, but she won't. She doesn't care if she fishes. So I don't know what her deal is there. Trying to talk her into it, but she can't get her to bite.
Right. So why is tree standing any different?
Um, well, with that there too, when she goes with, she won't hunt hard like we do. I mean, she's kind of the one where you get her a little bored and you're unsuccessful. I mean, she'll not give up, but she start losing interest. So, like this buck here wasn't shot from a tree stand. We spotted it and snuck up to it. So she got into that. But yeah, I don't think she could sit all day in a tree stand. She could sit for a couple hours, but she couldn't sit all day.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. It's more fun to chase them down like that, anyways.
Yeah. With rifles, we don't. I got a couple blinds I'll sit in, but I won't sit in a tree stand during rifle season. I'll just do it during bow season. So she hasn't got into bow season quite yet. She said, "Well, I don't want you to buy all my stuff," and then because she's seen me bow hunt all the time, and it can be a struggle. I mean, anyone who bow hunts knows how much of a struggle it can be. So he goes, I just don't want to sit there for days on end and not get nothing. So she'd prefer to go out there in 5 minutes and get hers and come back home again.
Yeah. Has she had to do any of the cleaning yet?
No, no, she's spoiled yet. She
Yeah.
she gets to fire the gun, hold the deer for a picture, and then she gets to eat the backstrap, and that's all. That's all she has to do.
Yeah.
So, but
My oldest just turned 6, and I'm curious when they get to that point how they're gonna react.
my son dove right in. I my daughter, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl thing. I don't think that's it at all. But no, my son dove right into it, and he was always with me, skinning them and deboning them, and making sausage. He was all into that, and once she puts her tag on it, she gets her picture with it, and she gets to have her back strap, and then she could care less then.
Right.
So I kind of spoil her on that aspect of it, but that might just be a father-daughter thing, I think. But
Is this does she have any kind of bucket list hunts that she wants to do, or is this really more of a spend time with dad kind of thing?
this is just go out and get your first deer. That when she got her first deer, she goes, I just want a picture with it, and then the backstrap. Her big thing is the backstrap, and then of course now she can get a buck, and now I want to get a picture with my first buck, and I think it's just let's take it a year by year and see where we go with it type of thing. So I don't know if she'll stick with it or not. I hope she does, but it's kind of a year by year thing. She's excited to go, but she hasn't said if she wants to hunt anything else or not. She's kind of focused on rifle hunt, and that's about it. So I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, that's fair. What about your son? Does he have any bucket list hunts?
You know what? I could probably name off 20 different animals that he'd want that I could name off, and he'd say, "Yeah, let's go get them." But he doesn't care what it is. Let's go hunt. He doesn't care, as long as we're hunting.
Yeah, just getting out there.
So just getting out there. Yep, just the thrill of it all. And I think with me and him, it's we spend a lot of time together. I mean, we fish all the time together, and so when it comes to hunting, it's more. I think all of it with him and I is just spending time together more than the kill itself or the catch itself. So, and I'll gladly take that over anything any day. So, and then my wife just got into hunting 4 years ago. We've been together for 23 years, and she just finally started hunting like 4 years ago. So pretty cool getting the whole family out.
Yeah, I imagine.
So, and she's had her struggles like all of us have. We've really struggled the last 2 years, but that's more been started videoing and trying to make that transition from not worrying about a camera and not videoing, and it's much easier than just to go hunt without a camera. So
Oh yeah.
I had to pass up a couple really good bucks last year because I couldn't get it on camera, and And last year was the first year ever I never filled my rifle tag in my whole life. So kind of a tough one to take, but it's all right. It's all right. You
Yeah,
still have a lot of fun.
I just got myself a Tacticam, and I'm sure the same thing's gonna happen to me.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I got GoPros everywhere and I got a what is the Canon XD11 big camera and yeah, it's fun though. It's fun. It really is when you can make everything come together and get the shot on camera and it's twice as exciting to me. So a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. It's frustrating, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah. What about
So,
just kind of basic getting out? Any places you guys enjoy camping?
yeah, we go up to Lake Sakakawea, which is north of here. It's the biggest lake in North Dakota. It's actually a reservoir, and we usually up there every weekend in the summertime, of course. So, yep, we're up there walleye fishing, and then come August, we the salmon turn on, so we put the downriggers on and start fishing salmon for a month. And then we go back to then by that time it's bow hunting for us because bow hunting for us starts September, very first weekend in September
Hmm.
is when bow hunting starts for us. So then after that we're bow hunting. So, but yeah, no, we're up there about every weekend. Spend a lot of time up there.
That's pretty cool. Good
Yeah,
family spot.
yep, absolutely, absolutely, a lot of fun. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Good. I'm sure that kids being kids, it's a good way to get them off their phones and stuff.
Well, I wish I could say yeah, they dropped their phones and they're completely focused on something else, but my daughter's a typical teenage social butterfly, so she's basically on her phone nonstop. So, matter of fact, I was watching the video back here. I just got done editing the video of her buck, and the she's sitting in the back seat of the pickup while we're spotting these deer, and I was watching the video, and she was back there on her phone while while I was talking about the deer we're going to go after. So, and then finally, I could see her put her phone down, but. So yeah, she's one of the ones that's on her phone all the time too.
Well, I guess that's to be expected.
Yeah, yeah, it's too bad, but it is what it is, I guess. What do you do?
Have a signal blocker.
Yeah, right. Where do
uh,
you, I'm sorry, were you in the Carolinas, you said? I'm sorry. I
North
missed
Carolina.
that. North Carolina? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm right below Raleigh. I don't really have to go very far where I am to um, go hunt. There's a rancher that's been really kind to my family and invites me onto his property
Oh,
for deer.
awesome. Nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
it's probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes from where I live, so very
Oh
convenient.
man.
Don't have to wake
Yeah.
up extra early.
Yeah, anywhere we go hunting or fishing around here, we got to travel at least an hour.
Oh yeah. I
That's we fish the Missouri River here, but yeah, mainly it's about an hour wherever we go.
Yeah.
So,
That's what it was like back when I was in California. I had to go because I kind of lived in the suburbs then. So
oh sure.
it took me, I'd probably say at least 3 hours to get to a spot that was you were able to hunt at.
Yeah, and they got what blacktail deer out there. They got
Uh,
whitetail mainly.
what was it? I think it was blacktail. I don't remember off the top of my head. Back then I mostly turkey hunted,
Oh
but
sure.
I think it was blacktail. If I'm not mistaken. I think there was only maybe 2 times that I actually even saw deer when I was out there.
Oh no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of turkey hunting in North Carolina too? Then
Haven't had a chance yet.
we haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah, I had it good in California because there's 2 long turkey seasons and there's one turkey season here in the spring that's hardly a month, and it seems like without a doubt I'm always busy with something and I can't get out and go.
Right. Yeah, we got 2 seasons here in North Dakota too. We got the spring and the fall.
Yeah.
We we got our tags for the fall, and we went out scouting. I mean, we found a bunch of birds, but kind of like you, we haven't found time to go. I mean, between bow hunting and getting ready for rifle season, I mean, between looking at cameras and setting up blinds and setting up stands, and we just went, okay, we gotta focus on one or the other, otherwise we're gonna not enjoy any of it. So we kind of said, well, we'll just wait for the spring because we really enjoy spring turkey hunting. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Really enjoy that. And so yeah, it's we used to get was it last year or the year before? I think I had a South Dakota bow tag. We both had antelope tags. I had an elk tag. We had both archery tags and both our rifle tags. And it got to be too much. Just too many tags and not enough time to go enjoy any of them. And I said, it was nice having all those tags and having the ability to go out, but I said it got to be stressful or it wasn't really fun because you didn't have time to go out and enjoy it because you were doing one and then you race back to do another, and wasn't any fun, to be honest with you. So
yeah,
we narrowed it way down this year to our rifle and our bow tag and one Montana tag and our turkeys, and so that's it. That's all we got time for.
Well, at least you were able to test the waters and know what your limitations are.
Well, if the guy didn't have that darn thing called a job, I think the guy have a lot more time to enjoy himself hunting. But yeah, when both of us are working, it's just tough to get out besides on the weekends. So,
well, if by some miracle hunting podcasts get extra popular, then this could be your job. Then you go hunting all the time.
Right. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, there's, I've always wanted to kind of do podcast, and I've done 2 of them with the guy, and man, it didn't seem like it gained any traction and get going, and he gave up fairly easy on it, and I'm like, I got a YouTube channel, and this stuff takes time. You got to have patience. You got to have a lot of patience.
Yeah, I'm not expecting to have too many followers until I get like 100 of these in.
Right. Yeah. Got to get your name out there and get. What I found with like my videos, finding the right time to upload them, and then staying consistent on them seemed to be the where guys started getting going a little bit. But there's some guys that just take off right away for whatever reason. And then there's, like myself, I'm going, man alive, I don't know what I'm doing wrong not to get going a little bit better, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
Still fun.
I think, because I've always had that same problem, and I've never really had a true niche. And then I came up with this concept, so I'm hoping. I've had a lot, even before recording my first one, I had people saying, I'd listen to that. So I'm hoping that I'm heading in the right direction with focusing on fathers being in the outdoors with their kids.
Right. Yeah. That was like on X there. I've got pictures of odds and ends and little short videos, and they don't get a single. They may get 20, 30 views or something, not big. I don't spend a lot of time on X or nothing. But that picture of my daughter where I started talking to you at, that got, I want to say over 17,000 views and ungodly amount of comments and remarks. And
right.
I'm going, okay, well, there's definitely something there that caught people's eye, and that's what's really hurt me on my YouTube channel is my fishing I do really well on, but then I've switched to hunting and I don't seem to get anything. And it doesn't matter if it's a great video, a nice, a successful video or not. It just doesn't seem to get anything. So I don't know if that niche, if the YouTube follows that niche, and then all of a sudden I switch it up and they don't know where to put the video at, so it doesn't be seen. I don't know what it is, but so I don't know if it's one of those things where you just got to get a bunch of followers and subscribers, and then I can have both the hunting and the fishing part of it.
Yeah.
Both get good views.
I don't really know the answer to that one. I guess my best assumption is that there's probably a lot more fishermen out there than there are hunters.
Yeah, right. Yep. Yep. Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm still trying to figure this game out. It's challenging, but like I said, I really enjoy it. I
Yeah,
really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
yeah.
My son's in it with me big time. He loves running the camera and he loves being on camera. So, and he's really good at running the camera. He's kind of a natural at it, so that helps a lot.
Oh, that's great.
So,
How old is your son?
um, 20, 20, 19, 20,
Somewhere in
something like
there.
that. Somewhere in there. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out here. His birthday was just on the 4th of October. 19. Yeah, 19. He just graduated 2 years ago, year and a half ago, or whatever it's been. So,
Okay.
so
So
yeah.
when you guys are up in tree stand or in a blind or anything like that, you guys pretty much just sit silent, or do you ever get into conversations that are kind of specific to being um, secluded like that in the outdoors?
No, you know, I'll bring it back to my wife here. When I got her in a hunt and I told her, I said, come with me and sit one night in the bow stand. And I said, we'll see how, if you like, and if you do, I said, we'll get you all, we'll get your gear. So we actually sat in a standing cornfield and we had deer coming within 4 or 5 feet of us. And I mean, it's just one of those nights I didn't care if I even drew my bow back. It was just cool having them animals that close. And she was talking a little bit through the whole thing. Well, then, long story short here, we got ground blind so I could sit with her so I could help her out to kind of teach her. And no, we would talk the whole time. We'd whisper to each other the whole time and talk about everything. So no, I don't like being dead silent, especially if I got someone sitting next to me. I'm too much of a talker. So too
They-
much of a talker, but yeah, no, and then of course we're getting kind of to the point where we can hunt separate now and kind of up our odds some, but yeah, no, we sit and we talk all the time back. Well, oh, was it 2 years ago now? Yeah, 2 years ago. Her sister lived in Oklahoma and she had passed away on, I think, the 1st of September and we were going to go down 2 days later to go down for the funeral. And she passed away the 1st of September, and my wife got her first deer with a bow ever on the 2nd of September. So that was pretty bittersweet or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, that worked out. We were actually was just talking about her sister, and that doe walked in, and she was waiting for a buck, but that doe walked in, and I said, if you want her, take her. And she drew back and she drilled it. And so she didn't make the perfect hit on it. So we waited till the next morning and we found it and we got her out of the field and basically went home and packed up and headed south. So, but yeah, that's pretty memorable on that one there.
yeah.
And that was in a ground blind also. It's really hard to find a good spot around here to hunt from a lot of tree stands because we don't have a ton of trees here. So we got my mom and stepdad own a ranch and a farm, so we hunt majority of the time down there on the farm. So not a lot of trees down there.
What about those? I guess they'd have to be a little more permanent, but those towers you can put up.
We've been looking at those, and I built one 2 years ago, and we're looking at buying a couple and putting them in different spots, with the bigger towers and a little bit fancier. But of course, we always got to test them out and see if we're going to enjoy sitting all day because this time of year in North Dakota it's the rut, so you get in there before daylight and just sit all day, and you can about imagine how many deer come by in a day. So that's kind of our plan for next year is to get a couple of those and set them out in different spots. So
That'd be cool. Um, I've never been in one of those, so I don't know how comfortable they are. But I understand you can get heaters in there.
Oh yeah, yep. Like the one I built, yeah, I got a heater in it, portable heater, and hooked a 20-pound propane tank to it, and I'll be 100% honest with you, I got a deep cycle battery up there and a DVD player and everything else. When my daughter's with or we get bored, I'll just put a movie on and turn it way down. And such open country, you can see the deer coming from a half mile away, so you got time to shut everything off and get it all settled down before you got to get ready. So.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to bore everybody to death, so I make sure there's something for everybody to do so they don't want to go home. So
Yeah, you should be a an interesting guide.
I'm I'm like I said, for me for years it was all about the kill, and now it's just all about spending time with everybody and if we get something, we get something. If we don't, we don't. But we'll be smiling at the end of the day regardless. So
So you said you chat a lot with your wife in the blind. What about your daughter or son?
my son, you think I'm a talker? There's times I got to tell him to be quiet because he'll nonstop. He'll jatter my ear off. My daughter's a little quieter. I can sit her next to me and say go out at 3 in the afternoon and sit till dark, and I may not hear a peep from her the whole night. So she's completely different from the other two.
So I guess the most conversations come from your son. Do any of those ever get? Uh, I can't think of the word that I want to use, but like more serious, like a good time to, I guess, bond or find something out that he's been maybe struggling with.
Yeah, you know what? He's pretty open with me um about everything. He's kind of in that stage of life where reality is kind of kicking him in the butt, and he's finding out what real life is all about outside the house and responsibilities, and he's struggling a little bit with it, trying to figure it out. And he's got a girlfriend, and they're one day they're happy, the next day they're not. So he's almost getting kind of jerked in about 40 different directions at once and doesn't know which way he's supposed to go yet. So he kind of talks to me all the time about that. But when we get into our fish house or our blinds or whatever, or just out in the open, he'll start. That's kind of when he'll open up even more to get the details of what's going on. So yeah, that's kind of where our how do you want to say it? Your um, I don't know how to phrase it, but most intense conversations, if that makes sense.
Hmm. So is based on that is there anything of words of encouragement almost to other dads as to the value that can have?
What I've found out is number one, if you can get your kids out fishing or out hunting, that's less time they have to get in trouble. And what I mean by trouble is the drugs and Lord else what they do nowadays, and it puts them on a better path in life, if you ask me. It veers them off in the right direction because hunting and fishing is I've never thought about anything else. So like I said, it keeps them out of trouble and it keeps them on a good path, and it teaches them a lot of responsibility, and of course it teaches them a lot of like when I taught my kids, besides the gun safety part of it, is the actual importance of the animal and how much you got to respect that animal and how much you got to make an ethical kill, and because we don't want to see nothing wounded running around. So it's actually taught my kids a lot of responsibility. It's probably the main thing, and it's kept them out of trouble.
Yeah. Um, so before we started, I asked about if you had any faith of what you do have. Where would you see God in relation to the outdoors or in relation to people that enter the outdoors?
I think it's everything's a blessing. That's my biggest thing. As I'm getting older, I'm figuring out that um, you got to work for what you want first and foremost, but everything you do have is a blessing, and everything you do achieve or do it happens for a reason. And is that God helping you out with that, or is that so there's a few things where I struggle with that. Is it all meant to be, or is it just is it a gift from God? I don't know. I've asked many people that, and I always get different answers.
Oh, I
You
imagine.
know, you know, my mom is very religious, and no, and I don't challenge anybody, and I don't want to challenge anybody, but I'm the older I get, I'm just looking for more answers to be a way bigger believer, if that makes sense. But I do believe that God has created everything that we have, and created all the animals that we go after, and created us. So therefore, it's all of it's a blessing. That's that's what I keep in my heart all the time. Is it's all a blessing.
Yeah, that's a good perspective, a good start.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go back and forth with um kind of the native heritage also. My uncle is married to a Native American, and listening to their beliefs, and listening to God and such. It I wish there was a happy medium in between both of them, because I like every theory. Just which one do you go with? So I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. That's where I struggle a little bit.
Mm-hmm. There, one of the interesting things is there is definitely a lot of parallels with a lot of those different perspectives. In the So there's I can't remember the name of the which book it's in, but I believe it in the Bible. There's a part where Paul's talking to some people that have a belief in a completely different set of gods, and they're listing them off, what they do and different things. And toward the end, they say there's this God. It's the unknown God, because they don't really have a descriptive like a specific category that's God's in charge of. And he said that is the one true God compared to all the other ones, which allowed them to dive in further and understand that, kind of digest what he was then going to bring them as far as the message of Jesus at that point. So I think there's definitely foundation for that amongst all beliefs, and then it all kind of, if you look at it correctly, or well, from my perspective, I want to say look at it correctly, that it all circles back to that.
Right, right. I do believe it all comes back to one. I mean, it really does. And my wife's family is very, very, very Catholic. I mean, just very strictly Catholic. And you getting into the Lutherans and the Catholics, and all the different kinds, and it's the thing that I'm still trying to digest is, you guys are reading the same book, but you got different beliefs on a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
So where is it all coming from? But I've always had it that there is a God, and he is what should make you happy every single day. So it's the old, like I said, the older I get, the more I'm trying to digest it and try to get my mind where I want it to be when it comes to religion and everything else. If any of that makes sense. I know it kind of
Yeah.
ramble on the situation, but not that I don't believe, I do believe, but I, and I don't know if it's not to get into this because it's a totally different subject really, but it's kind of like the politics going on
Hmm.
nowadays. I know which side I believe in, and I know which side is probably evil.
Right.
Well, the Lutheran and Catholic, and not that you ever got to be Lutheran or Catholic, but they're, just a little bit different beliefs. And I know I don't want to insult anybody that is Catholic or Lutheran, but there's just not one way I'd want to go on that. I kind of want my own beliefs and because I believe if you believe in something, that is the main thing because you do have to believe in something, whatever it is.
Right. I
So
I think the best breakdown for that, because like if you look back of the story of Jesus, and then the Pharisees and Sadducees were having issues with him because he wasn't following what they considered the law, and he was basically saying you're all looking at it as like one, two, three steps, and I'm telling you it's about the faith, and the faith causes you to do those things. And I think a lot of versions of Christianity are repeating that, where they do certain habits that aren't biblically based. Maybe they are in the sense that somebody's interpreting something a certain way. But for someone who's kind of looking for the answers, like yourself, I think just diving straight into the source, being the Bible, and getting your answers, reading it for your own interpretation that way, rather than hearing it from someone else that's telling you this is what it
right,
says.
right.
That's the most important thing, I think.
Right. No, absolutely. I know when I was younger, I was always going with my mom to Bible studies all the time. And, I'll be honest, as a kid that age, I had no, no want to even read the Bible or do that. So I felt forced to, and it felt kind of crammed down my throat instead of whatever. And then that's when I kind of just shut that part off and went, no, I've had to cram down my throat. I don't, and then, like I said, as I matured and got older, now finally it's clicking in that I want to figure it out. And I've read a lot on, like I said, Native Americans, because I like to keep an open mind. And then I've read a lot on the Bible. I haven't read the whole thing, but I've read through different parts, and it's kind of, man, where do you go and what do you believe in? And that's kind of where I'm sitting. I'll be 100% honest with you. And I've been struggling with it for quite a few years, and I almost feel guilty for it. I almost feel guilty for not believing in one thing or another at the moment, and I kind of believe in both.
Yeah.
I believe both of them cross paths somewhere down the line. It's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think doubt, questioning God, is a healthy thing, because what it's going to lead to is diving in and seeking answers, which can only strengthen.
Well, it keeps your mind open.
Yeah.
It always keeps you curious. I believe when you're, just like the outdoors, when you're hunting or fishing, if you're not curious and you don't want to learn, you're not going to be any good at it, and you're going to lose interest in it. When I'm out in the woods, or not even out in the woods, but when I'm out in the boat or I'm out hunting, I want to learn. That's one of my things. But I'm always trying to learn. So when you come to that part of it, if you're not curious and you don't want, you're not able to learn or want to learn, you're not ever going to think about it. Therefore, you're never not going to grow into it. I've always told my kids, I'm not going to tell you what religion to be. I said, but what I will tell you is, believe in God and don't sin. That's what I'll tell you. Be a good person. That's it. Be a good person.
Yeah.
And these are the sins, just don't do this and believe in Jesus Christ and you'll be just fine. So I didn't want to just, for the fact like I said, I had to cram down my throat, and I didn't want to do it to my kids. and I wasn't that big into it yet anyway, but that's where I kind of went with my kids with it. So I letting them make up their own mind. So and every once in a while, my son will get into conversations with me about it because I think he's starting to get interested and curious, and I think he's looking for something to believe in too, also.
Right.
So, which is healthy,
Oh yeah.
which is very healthy. So,
I
but no,
remember. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, my wife and I have always tried to teach our kids, and the preschool they go to is actually with our church. Or my oldest son's in kindergarten now, but they were going to a preschool at our church, so they had a lot of teachings there. But before that, there was one time I must have grabbed it off the counter like little kids do, a wine glass, and it shattered and sliced his hand open pretty good. And he was upset about it. Now there's a hole in his hand, and we're trying to explain to him how things heal, and we were created to be able to heal ourselves. It's one of the gifts from God. So he's learning this, and then later on, at this older house of ours, we had this balcony, and he was playing near it, and we said, "Don't climb on that because you could fall over and hurt yourself." And he's like, "Well, if I fall," and I think we said break a leg or I don't know exactly what it was, but he's like, "If I fall, God will heal me." And we're like, "Well, I like the faith, but let's not test it."
Let's not go to extremes, and let's not try out some methods here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's definitely he's got a good foundation. We'll see how he grows with it.
No, that's good. That's great. It it and I feel bad for not teaching my kids more about that than what I did, but I didn't know a whole lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from that age of when my mom would take me to Bible study, my parents got divorced, and my dad was a very, very big alcoholic. So that's what I seen for many, many, many years. And it, when you see stuff like that, as a young kid, God is the last thing on your mind at that time, especially when you don't have someone like my mom at the time, say, hey, he'll get help, and keep believing, keep the faith. And so I lost a lot of that, and that's when I lost it. And then I'm not going to go through all of it, but leading up to, I had a friend in high school that committed suicide, and then I had a classmate. I think his brother was 10 at the time, got killed, and for me at that time it was, well, if there is a God, why the hell did he let this happen? And that's where I really lost the faith for a long time, where I'm like, there's just no way that God would do this and take these two innocent people. But as time went on, you kind of learn why, and starting to grow from it. Mm-hmm. So especially after my wife lost her sister 2 years ago, that was a big eye opener when it came to that. Yeah. I actually had a long conversation with what would have been her husband, and I just said, I can't believe you're not more, excuse my language, pissed off at God for this. And he goes, why would I be? He goes, well, he took your wife. And he goes, well, he never even laughed. With a straight face, he looked at me and said, well, she's needed up there more than she is down here. And I went, okay, I'm glad you got a great train of thought when it came to that. So that's when it really started to turn, where getting more and more curious and trying to dig a little bit deeper and see exactly what, dig out and get my own beliefs. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Just like I'm sure your wife and yourself have your own, and, read the Bible and you believe in the Bible and go off of what it says.
So the interesting thing about faith is a lot of, I'll say a lot of times it can make life better. Not like instantaneous, like I'm doing better at my job. It's more like because of the faith, you change life habits and things like that, and that's what usually it leads to life being better just naturally by that aspect. But it's almost like you're then granted things as you go. But once you're in the faith, being a Christian, it comes with a lot of hardships, especially since it's not really the habits of it are not culturally acceptable in today's age,
Right, right.
which maybe we're not to the point of just utter persecution. And I say that based on the results of this last election, not to get too political, as you said. But I felt like that was a good sign that
Yep.
we're not quite in the end times, at the last book of the Bible. Um, and it's all about the reward in heaven, what you're building towards, essentially.
Right,
And that certainly takes a lot of faith
right,
to
right.
live like that.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, even growing up here and when politics got crazy, I listening to what they were doing to Jews and what they were doing to Christians and I'm going getting angry going that's what this country was based off from was Christianity. That's what this whole country was founded on. And now you
Hmm.
guys are trying to throw it out. And when the election came around and thank God it happened the way it happened, I'm like, all right, Americans are fed up, and the good people are going, nope, you're not going to take that away. So I'm glad to see we all got a lot of fight left in us.
Yes, yeah, that's the big one. Well, we got God on our side. You can't lose.
Exactly right. Exactly right. It, I've had a lot of conversations with folks like yourself, trying to wrap my head around everything, and one guy explained it to me as he goes, when I wake up in the morning, he goes, because I'm filled with joy every single day.
Hmm.
And he goes, that's what I get from God. And he goes, I don't get a house and stuff like that. He goes, that's what I get. And I'm like, hey, being happy and having that love inside yourself is way more important than anything else. So I get it. I really do.
Hmm.
I get it.
It's always interesting to see converts in prison because they're left with absolutely nothing, and they appear to be some of the happiest people on the earth.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Is that because they found something? Is that because they found themselves? Is that because they realized what they've done and that part of their life is done? You know what I mean?
I'd say it's a
It's
little of everything. A good example, not that he's a criminal, but a great example is Russell Brand recently got baptized, and he's a completely different person, and um, he's not gloating about it. Every time the conversation comes up, he fully admits uh, doing drugs and things like that in the past, and now
right.
he's definitely not a great example. Um, and it even with growing up in a Christian household, it actually took me a while to realize that's what most uh, Christians are basically struggling with sin even after uh, being saved. And people that go to church aren't all perfect. It probably would be impossible to find someone perfect in a church except maybe a child. And I first realized that I was reading a book by Phil Robinson, the dad in Duck Dynasty,
Yep. Yep.
and I knew he was a leader at Church of Christ down where he lives. Um, and in the beginning of this particular book, he talks about being a drunk, a cheat, and just doing all these things. And it was almost like a shock to my system because in my head, with him being a leader of a church, that he would have been like kind of perfect his whole life. But
Right.
it also, because that opened my eyes, I also started realizing some of the strongest and most vocal Christians have a dark past. Even in the Bible, Paul's a great example of that because he was murdering Christians before being
Right.
blinded, literally blinded by Jesus.
That's it. It's funny you bring that up because I was actually just thinking that right before you started talking about that every leader, like Phil Robinson, did have that dark past. That Russell Brand is a great example because I could actually sit and listen to him all day long, just talk and ramble and talk and talk and talk, about what he was in the past to what he is now. I find that greatly interesting. And what made him switch, and it's all just so interesting to me to listen to them kind of stories about just waking up one morning going, yep, nope, this is not what I'm going to do. And next thing you know, they're picking up a Bible and they're going to church or whatever they need to do to get their head going straight.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always great to hear too.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. There's a lot of people out there like that. I know there was guys that were a couple years older than me that they were sleeping around on their wives and they were drunks. And I talk to them now and they're remarried with kids and just totally different people. And they're all religious now. So God found them their way, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are always good to hear, especially after I moved on from having my system shocked by the Phil Robinson story. Um, it's I just hear the mention so and so got baptized, and I can't help but smile.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I knew he had a past. I didn't know what it was,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started hearing more and more and more, and I'm going, holy cow, man, his wife was a good woman to stick around with him for the hell that he put her through.
Yeah.
But now all of his kids are very active members in their church, and they're on TV all the time, and even their one of his granddaughters especially is big into it too. So it really funneled down and kept going through the family, which is fantastic.
Right. That's always good to hear. I forgot what my next question was. Is there anything that we didn't discuss that you wanted to add?
You know what? No, I wasn't 100% sure. I knew what I was going to expect. We didn't talk a whole lot, just back and forth a little bit there. I hope we can do another one because I really enjoyed talking
Yeah.
about it, kind of everything underneath the sun. But I'm sure the next one will have a lot more questions and about different things. But no, I really enjoyed the talk, and I look forward to another one here if you want.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just remember what it was. If so, I know I asked about bucket list hunts, but just in general, what's the next big plans for the family?
Well, for maybe what I want to do to what my wife is going to let me do, it might be a little bit different, but we're going to get through rifle season, and we're going to try to get one with a bow yet too this year. But we're going to plan on going back elk hunting. But my dream hunt is actually getting a bull moose with the bow. That's kind of my dream hunt. So that's hopefully within the next couple of years.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah. I got my elk, but I got that with a rifle, and that was a cow only. But my next thing was to get a bull with my bow, and then go after a moose with my bow, and go, okay, I got what I wanted to do.
Yeah. I heard.
And my wife don't care. I tried to get my wife a tag this year for Montana, and she goes, no. She goes, I'll come with and run the camera. She goes, I have just as much fun doing that. So, because I really wanted to as bad as I want to get one, for my wife to get one or one of my kids to get one would be probably 1,000 times better.
I imagine.
When my daughter, right before my daughter got her buck and another buck were fighting. And I went to video that because that is some of the most amazing things you'll see, in nature. And when my wife shot her first deer with a bow, I had the GoPro on her, and then the big camera, I zoomed in on the deer. And then when I edited it, I did a split screen of them. So you can see what she's doing and what the deer is doing all at the same time up until the shot. And I really enjoy that kind of view.
Yeah. I did try that with my, the doe I got. I actually took election day, the day after election day off, avoided the results because I was a little stressed about it. I went hunting instead. But I tried that on my phone, but I had the angle a little too high, so all you can see is like up above the trees, and then boom on the rifle.
Oh,
So,
sure, okay.
Yeah, so nothing actually showed up on my footage.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Shoot. Are you just getting into videoing, or have you done it a while?
I've always just taken pictures. So when I started this, I decided I would try to do some kind of side content.
Sure.
For the hunting video. My background's actually in film. When I lived in California, I worked in Hollywood, and did some stuff with that. So that's where my previous work. But like the big camera that I have, which I use to do testimonials for my church, which is not why I bought it. I originally bought it to do feature films. If I did like this interview we're doing, would be well over 100 gigs. So I when I'm doing small stuff, I prefer not to bring that with me.
Oh, right, yep.
Giant files.
Yeah.
So, but I'm hoping at least with the phone, it's technically an underwater camera, but it does decent footage. And then the Tacticam, I'm hoping will be a good combo to use.
Oh, sure. Yep. Yeah, we were thinking about going to that instead of the GoPros because we've had the GoPros kind of go wacky on us a few times where I lost some really good footage for, whether they overheated or whether they just shut off or whatever. They just do some weird things sometimes, but they do take nice, clear video. But there's a lot of times where you go back and look at the footage and go, well, what the heck happened to it? It's either gone or whatever. But so we thought about going to a different style. And I know another gentleman that does the same thing I do, and he lives around this area. And he showed me one that he uses, and I forget what it is. And he had the GoPros, and he went to that, and he hasn't had a problem since.
Okay.
So it's all trial and error. If you got it right the first time, then it would be no fun. So.
Right. Yeah, once you get it perfect, then you're tired of it.
You're right. And I'll never get it perfect. I know that because Lord knows I need a lot of help with it yet. So.
All right. Well, this was fun. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm glad you reached out to me and yeah, get a hold of me when you want to do another one and just let me know. I'm always game for it. So.
Sounds good. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. And if you want to join the adventure, you can pick yourself up a nice hat or a camping coffee mug and brew yourself some coffee right above a nice little fire at greatoutdoorspodcast.com. Oh, kind of grainy.